Hey, good evening, Points and Miles aficionados. Thanks for watching this replay of Award Travel 101 Live. I'm your founder, Richard Kerr. Tonight, we are talking airline status, which everybody wants. You have no idea why. You just want that cool luggage tag. We're going to talk about that a little bit. Does it make sense for you to go and chase it? Do you have to chase it at all? If you want to, then I'm going to tell you the easiest ways to get that status tonight. Hey, working hard in the background, like always, is moderator Tony keeping pace with me. I have the easy job. She's got the hard job. You can ask questions throughout the night, and she's going to put them on my moderating document, which you're going to see me glance over at a few times. So don't be worried if I don't see your question right away. She's got it written down for me, and you have nothing to worry about. I saw Charleston tuning in. My son and I were just in Charleston for the weekend. I see Duluth, Minnesota, where I believe it is still snowing there in Minnesota, eh? Hey. Shout out to the hockey world. Tough week there in Canada with that horrible bus crash. Some of the things that happen in this world, I guess we'll never understand why, but thoughts up there to everybody up north in that community. I stay in touch with the sports world quite a bit, so you'll hear me reference things going on. Patrick Reed winning the Masters. Man, I hate that guy as a fellow Georgian. Don't know why. Well, I do. He has a terrible reputation, but I hope everybody enjoyed watching the Masters last week. Let's get started with a few events like always. I want to focus on the Award Travel 101 Boot Camp. This is happening in Orlando, Florida on April 29th. You're going to come and hang out with me and Tony in person. No more behind the screen, none of this typing stuff. We're going to talk for real. Tony's going to share the link in the comments here, or as always, you can just go to the Events tab in the Award Travel 101 group and see everything we have going on. Lots of segments every week, all of these live scheduled. My travel schedule is a little bit crazy, so the lives are not going to always be on Tuesday night. But I'm so excited about that boot camp. 4 hours at the Hyatt place there, and afterwards they said they're going to keep the bar open as long as possible. So you can grab your bourbons with me tonight. A little bit of Blanton's. I cut it a little bit tonight. I got to travel tomorrow, so I'm not trying to get anything too strong going on here, if you know what I mean. But these copper cups are the greatest thing ever. If you're not drinking bourbon out of that, that's how you should be. Next event, Zork Fest in Vegas, Treasure Island on the Strip. This is Memorial Day weekend. Again, all the information in the tabs. I'm so excited about this conference. I'm teaching a boot camp again there. I'm speaking twice. We're having a VIP dinner. We got a craps charity tournament, and it's right there on the Strip. It's no airport hotel. We're on the Strip in Vegas. We're learning everything there is to know about casino comps. You're learning everything there is to know about travel hacking, award travel, points and miles meshed together, and I'm really excited to be there just as much to learn as I am to speak. Hey, thanks for that shout out to my grandmother. She did fall, but she's doing a lot better now, and Thomas and I went to cheer her up for the weekend, so really great to see her out in Charleston. Other events going on, Thursday Bourbon and Q&A live shot thing. I answer anything that you ask. Man, a lot going on, but tonight we're focusing on airline elite status. So let's talk about it a little bit. Who needs airline elite status? This is my philosophy that you probably heard me say if you remember the group many times, and you're always going to hear me say moving forward. If you don't fly enough organically to earn the status, and it's not on somebody else's tab, either your employers or your clients, you probably don't need the status. That's right. If you got to go out and pay to fly 100,000 miles by yourself, you don't need that. If you're not going to travel that much anyways for a job, why in the world would you need that status? Yeah, those luggage tags are super cool. They can come in handy from time to time, but I'm going to tell you, if you put your efforts towards earning as many points and miles as possible so that you can book those business and first class tickets, even domestically, you're going to get pretty much all the same benefits. You're going to have, the lounge access. The credit card is going to give you that anyways. You can fly economy. You're going to have the extra baggage allowance. If you're flying business and first class, you got a much better chance of getting help during irregular operations. You know what? It's somebody just commented it's a need versus a want. It really is, but I'm going to continue to drive into people the irrational decisions that having airline status or trying to attain that status just institutes in people's minds. I've seen people do crazy things, not only spending thousands of dollars, but spending 4 and 5 days in a row flying long-haul coach economy tickets so they can take advantage of that status 2 or 3 times the rest of the year. Dadgummit, I just don't understand it. If you got to brag about something, then go spend all that time and effort into something that helps other people. Or, good grief, I don't understand. But that's what people do. So you may not agree with me. I just want you to put some critical thought into the time and effort, both expense of away from family and friends, expense to your pocket, that it's going to take for you to maintain or earn that status if you don't fly it organically. All right, so there's my spiel. You're going to hear it a few times. Asterisk, like always here in award travel, here's where it can make sense. If you get a shortcut offer, if you get a status challenge, if your company has a corporate offer, which if you work for a large to medium-sized company and you haven't talked to your corporate travel agent yet about negotiated status they could have with the carrier, you need to do that. Send the email tonight, send it tomorrow morning, call who you need to call, stop by their office. A lot of companies have shortcuts to elite status with these airlines because of the volume of business that they give them. If you fall underneath this, if you open up your email one day and there's a targeted offer for American Airlines that says, hey, you don't need to fly 100,000 miles for Executive Platinum, you only got to fly 30,000. Well, gosh dog it, if you're interested in award travel and points and miles and you got some big trips coming up, it's probably going to be worth it in that case if you can spare the expense and the time. Okay, so if you're just short of meeting top tier status, I'm not talking about gold and silver, Platinum Pro, Platinum Premier. I'm talking about 1K, Executive Platinum, Delta Diamond, Mint. If you're just short of that based on organic travel from business already, it's going to make sense for you to go make that one extra mileage run to get her done and reach that top tier elite status. Okay, so there's no blanket rules. I have a philosophy, but if you fall within a few of these exceptions, it can make sense for you to put in the effort, the expense, the time to reach that. So what am I doing this week? So why are we having live on a Monday night instead of a Tuesday night? Well, I am going mileage running for the next 3 days. So you're like, dang, Richard always talks about how much he hates elite status and how dumb it is. Well, I got a shortcut offer. I'm one of the exceptions. And my entire job is this stuff. This is my full-time gig. People send me messages all the time that say, hey, what do you do for work? I'm like, well, I do this. This is what I do for work. So going and traveling, I learn something every time. I'm flying Aero Mexico and crediting to Delta to finish off a Platinum Sky Miles Challenge. Living here in the Atlanta area, already really worthwhile. So I'm going from Atlanta to JFK, New York City, down right back south to Mexico City, hanging out in the Centurion Lounge in Mexico City, and then heading over to Cabo, airport code Sierra Juliet Delta SJD. Turn right back around and flying the exact same route home. It's all in business class. Aero Mexico has these super cheap business class fares down South America into Mexico right now. I booked it with American Express points. I have a business platinum, so I get 50% of those points back on any business or first class ticket. So I'm flying round trip for about 50,000 Amex points. Is going to give me Delta Platinum status for the rest of the year, which living in Atlanta I value very highly. And because I travel full time, this makes sense for me and my very specific situation. If you live in one of God's greatest cities in Charleston, South Carolina, and you fly 3 times a year for pleasure, you have no sense in going to that airport and getting on an airplane to Hong Kong 5 times in a row so that you can get American Airlines Executive Platinum. Don't do it. Airline status is not for you. Okay? If you got a wire loose, if you're a little bit crazy like me, if you're trying to figure out how to get into this full time, if you're just one mileage run short of that top tier status, how do you get this airline elite status, right? What are some shortcuts? What are some methods that are out there that can make you skip the line a little bit? Nobody wants to have to fly 100,000 miles and meet the elite qualification dollar spend now on top of maybe minimum segments in order to do this. So there are shortcuts out there. Let's talk about them. If at any point you have questions tonight, throw it in the comments. If at any point you have another idea about how to get airline elite status that I don't mention, I want you to tell everybody. Tony's going to put down your question to make sure I don't miss it. And I want to know what I don't know. So if you know something that I don't mention, then talk to me about it, okay? Airline elite status. Essentially 3 things. So medallion qualifying miles, elite qualifying miles, depending on what program you're talking about, elite qualifying dollars now. You can no longer just go and fly the cheapest route the furthest. You also got to spend X number of dollars with an airline. The great bonus of all this in the third part are all the redeemable miles that you'll earn on top of it. And as your status goes higher now in today's legacy programs, you earn more points the higher the status you have. Okay, so what everybody always wants to know about in the group are, airline elite status match challenge and options. So Tony's going to share a link to an article that I wrote, And I highly recommend that you check it out because it has all of these listed together. I'm going to talk about some of the ones you may have heard about in shortcutting to airline elite status and some of the ones you may not be aware of. All right, so number one, Air Canada. They're offering a challenge right now if you have any other status. Okay, super secret squirrel tip right here for Award Travel 101 audience. If you don't have airline elite status and you need a screenshot to prove your status to another airline to qualify for a challenge, some people out there risk their relationship with an airline, risk getting caught and blacklisted, and alter the HTML code with the right click on Google Chrome and inspect, and you can make a web page say what you want it to say, and voila, you have a screenshot proving that you already have elite status in order to qualify for these challenges. Just putting it out there. Some people do that. Recognize what you risk if they come back and say, we're going to need a little bit more proof from that. We're going to see the entire statement of the activity that you've had this year, not just a little screenshot, right? So people do it. Don't recommend it, but that's something that's out there. So Air Canada, if you already have elite status, you can challenge up to Altitude Elite 50K. That requires 18,500 qualifying miles in a 3-month period. So that's pretty new. Air Canada didn't do that last year. I think it might have something to do with Aeroplane going away in just a couple years. They're trying to get as many folks in there. If you go to Canada all the time for business, or you want Star Alliance Gold status and you've got a bunch of Air Canada flights coming up, that is an option. And remember, Tony's going to share the link to this article that I wrote so that you can read all of this again. Alaska Airlines. What's great about Alaska Airlines status? No challenge. If you have a competitor status, they're going to match you right away. You don't have to fly X number of segments. You don't have to do anything. And MVP Gold 75K is a great status to have. Actually, Alaska Airlines all around is a fantastic status to have, and just a fantastic program to use. You want as many Alaska miles as possible. If you're MVP Gold 75K, you're earning bonus miles on every single flight. Highly look into that. There's a dedicated website to the Alaska Airlines status match now. You don't even have to call anybody. You just submit it all online, and it's done like that. I'm actually going to click on this and tell you this website real quick. AlaskaAirStatusMatch.com. AlaskaAirStatusMatch.com. Input your credentials there, and voila, Alaska status. No challenge required. American Airlines, we can talk about this at length. There's so many articles about the status challenge. This is really what got me started in all of my elite status with airlines. I was one day targeted with a shortcut offer to American Airlines Executive Platinum. No idea why. Actually, these come out routinely several times throughout the year. We do not know the secret sauce to getting targeted for one of these offers. You can alternatively call up and say, hey, I want a challenge, but they're going to charge you money if you're not targeted, and they're probably not going to let you challenge all the way up to Executive Platinum. Again, click the link here, Tony. This is thepointsguy.com, airline status, matches, and challenges. And all this information is here. Make sure you're on the mailing list for American Airlines. Make sure it's not going into your spam or trash box, so that you can get these targeted offers. Really, really worthwhile, because what you do is what I did. I did this challenge almost 2 years ago now. I earned Executive Platinum. It was good for a year and a half. It expired this past January. Sent in the credentials to Delta. Delta is letting me do this challenge, which I'm finishing this week, and now I'm Delta Platinum all the way through the end of the year into the first couple months of next year. And then I take my Delta thing and I send it over to United. I do a United challenge. And so from the middle of 2016 all the way until the beginning of 2021, I've never flown the miles required for these either top tier or next to top tier elite statuses, but I still have this status because I've completed these few challenges. So a really great thing to do. So Delta has an entire landing page dedicated to this. They can explain in detail the challenge and what requirements you have to have in order to qualify. If you just go to the Delta Sky Miles, the fourth option down, get to know medallion status and their status match challenge, right? So Delta website, get to know medallion status, halfway down status match challenge, tells you everything you need to know. I see some comments coming in. I'm going to get to them in just a second. Quite a few of them. So I think Ramon asked something about how long are these good for. So how often will the airline status match? Every program's a little bit different. Some of them say, hey, you can only do this once in a lifetime. Some of them say once every 5 years. Okay, so go to the article, Airlines Elite Status Match Options and Challenges on the Points Guy, and read through. I have the notes there on every single one. Marty says, my husband was United Global and lost it recently. I think she means Global Services. They gave him a challenge to meet by June. He has to meet it by the end of June. He just had a hernia operation, can't fly till May, 15,000. He has 12,000. Can you recommend to get 3,000 going to meet status. So you're talking about more about a mileage run, which was my topic last week, how to create the perfect mileage run. Go to our YouTube channel. If you just Google YouTube Award Travel 101, you're going to see last week's video that says completing the perfect mileage run. I give tons of tips there, okay? Let's go back. So after American challenges, Delta, they have it. Emirates, if you just send Emirates a quick comparable screenshot of almost any single airline, they're going to match you to their silver status, which doesn't do much, but if you're going to be flying Emirates, it gets you a few bonus skywards. Don't collect those anyways, but it lets you pick your seats for free. Emirates now charges for seat selection for some reason, because they can, but if you match to their silver status, you're going to be able to do it for free. I'm going to skip some of these, but Hawaiian, if you're going to be flying Hawaiian Airlines a few times, they will not make you do a challenge. They will do a straight match. If you just email hm.loyalty@hawaiianair.com, attach proof of your current status, there's a very good chance you're going to get Hawaiian Platinum, which is a pretty great status to have if you're going to be flying them a few times. Again, that's hm.hotelmike.loyalty@hawaiianair.com with your current status. Current status. Not advocating for that, just something to know. You might get matched there. Okay, so a few different options around there. Southwest actually does a challenge if you want A-list preferred. Not a bad idea if you're a regular Southwest flyer and you're just getting started off. United, very much just like Delta and American, where they're going to match you or give you a challenge based on your current status. And you have typically 3 months to fly 18 to 20,000 medallion qualifying, elite qualifying miles, and you have to meet those spin requirements. Okay, so let's talk about spin requirements. Again, just read this article. Tons of airlines and all the particulars you want to know if you already have status. So you're saying, okay, I don't have status at all. I'm starting from the ground up, but I really want status because I'm flying 10 times in the next 3 months, and I feel like it can help me out. Okay, so email the airlines anyways, even if you don't have status, and ask for a challenge. Someone will make you do it. American might ask for a couple $100 up front. And that leads me to my story about JetBlue Mint status. At the end of 2016, I was living in Washington, D.C., tons of routes out of Reagan. From JetBlue, we had a few flights coming up. I sent their Twitter team a question, direct message, say, hey, how's it going, team? I'm American Airlines Executive Platinum. That doesn't really have any relatability to this conversation, but I just want to let you know I love JetBlue, and I would love to have Mint status for these upcoming 3 or 4 flights that we have out of DC. Whatever, what the heck, and of course they're not going to say no. A day later, hey, Mr. Kerr, sure, here you go. Here's Mint status for the rest of 2016. Thanks for flying JetBlue. Yeah, JetBlue Mosaic status. Okay. Thanks a lot. I tried to get some friends to repeat it overnight, and no dice, but I've heard of crazy things happening. I'm the most skeptical person out there, so if I had heard that, I'd say that's not true. That didn't happen. I'm telling you, it's true, and it happened. If that's not having luck, JetBlue routinely sends out challenges. Last year, they sent out a nationwide challenge. It said register here and then fly, I think, earn 3,000 points or something like that. And then you can have JetBlue Mosaic status for the rest of the year, and I think it might have been all of this year as well. So sign up for their emails. Always sign up for the bank and airline and hotel emails because of the offers that come out. Besides that, if you have the JetBlue Plus card from Barclays, you can spend $50,000 a year on that, and you have JetBlue Mosaic status. Once you have that Mosaic status, it's time to start signing up for all of these other challenges. So that's a good example of, hey, I have absolutely nothing right now. How do I start? Get the JetBlue Plus card, put $50,000 on it in a year, and then start signing up for those challenges. Probably going to take you most of a calendar year to get up to 50 grand if you have that ability. Make your friends and family and businesses authorized users, get to spend on that card, get your Mosaic status, and get going. Okay, a few other things we can talk about. Family pooling for status, Egypt Air. I've got to find this article for Tony to share. Over on the Award Wallet blog, really broke this news. A couple flights as a family, you can actually pool your elite qualifying miles to get Star Alliance silver status, which is really rare to be able to pool elite miles to do that. So here it is. Whoops, clicked the wrong one there, Tony. I'm going to share this to Tony. It's really interesting how you can do this from the Egypt Air program. Why do you want Star Alliance Gold status? That's United Lounge access every single time you fly domestically without having to get some kind of card or anything like that. Pretty great. There you go. Tony's going to share that in the comments. So something to look at if you want United Lounge access. Really, a couple flights pooling together, and actually not a bad award chart if you credit some Star Alliance flights over there to Egypt Air. Pretty interesting. Those are the kinds of nuances that I love to read about and dig into that nobody else is really talking about. Absolutely fascinating program right there, and probably something you may not have heard about. All right, Founders Card. What is Founders Card? It's a members-only card. Requires an annual fee, roughly $400. Gives you all kinds of lifestyle and travel benefits, one of which is typically an American Airlines Platinum Status Challenge. It's closed right now. It was open until March. We're hoping it comes back later. If you just do a quick Google on a Founders Card, then a million articles reviewing it are going to come up. One of the benefits, American Airlines Platinum Challenge. It also gives you 1 year of Cathay Pacific status, which might be just good enough to qualify for one of these other challenges, which you just parlay year after year into another challenge, into another match. You just never know. You've got to get that first status to go ahead and get started. And Founders Card can do that either with American or with Cathay, and I think even with Virgin Atlantic, but you got to take one flight on Virgin Atlantic Metal, so something to look at there. Okay. Other ways to get status without flying. Another great award wallet blog post Tony's going to share here, all about how to get airline elite status. It focuses mainly on our final topic here, which is elite qualifying dollars. This can be a large hurdle to people who fly a long distance on cheap tickets. They're not going to meet the elite qualifying dollar requirements on top of the miles which you have to have in order to get that status. There is a way with JetBlue, Delta, American, and United to either get help or to completely eliminate that requirement by having a co-branded card and putting spend on it. So we already talked about JetBlue, $50,000 on the JetBlue Plus card from Barclays, Mosaic status, you're good to go, start matching. Delta medallion qualifying miles and elite qualifying dollars. This was all the news at the end of last year. In the past, you had any Delta co-branded card from American Express, the Gold, the Platinum, the Reserve, or any of the business varieties. Put $25,000 on that card in the course of a year, and no more elite qualifying dollar requirement. Well, they raised that up to $250,000 to get an EQD waiver, and that is out of the reach of 99.9% of people putting spend on credit cards. So what you can do with all the variety of Delta cards is earn bonus medallion qualifying miles. Still got to get those dollars in. Still got to either move out of the country because non-U.S. residents are not subject to medallion qualifying dollars, or you got to put $250,000 on it. But all the cards starting with Platinum and Reserve and the business versions give the opportunity to earn bonus medallion qualifying miles for extra spend. You got to understand, miles is the distance flown, dollars is the money spent. You got to have both of them to get status in today's legacy carriers. So the credit cards allow you to either earn bonus medallion qualifying miles or waive the EQD altogether. So Delta, $250,000 in annual spend to waive the EQD requirement. American, if you spend $25,000 on any of the Barclay Aviator cards, you get 3,000 EQDs. So it doesn't waive it, it just gives you 3,000 more. And then if you're a Silver Aviator card holder, you spend an additional $25,000. You get another 3,000 EQDs. So the Barclay Aviator cards give you the potential of 6,000 EQDs, not elite qualifying miles, elite qualifying dollars. We're talking two different things here. I don't want you to get confused, okay? Bonus spend on Delta cards gives you bonus medallion qualifying miles. Bonus spend on American Barclay cards gives you bonus elite qualifying dollars, not miles, okay? Important to understand that. And then United, still the easiest. If you spend $25,000 on any United co-branded card, elite qualifying dollar requirements out the window, you're waived. All you got to do is fly those miles. So still the easiest, hoping they don't pull a Delta and raise it tenfold to $250,000 next year, because I'll be going for United status most likely with my match from current Delta Platinum, which I lock up with my mileage run this year, okay? Crossover rewards with SPG and Delta Sky Miles if you have SPG Platinum status, or Marriott Platinum, which turns into SPG Platinum. You get some of the elite Delta perks like priority check-in, boarding. You get some upgrades even. So you just got to link your reservations together on the Delta website, Google Delta Crossover Rewards. So you do not get Delta status, you just get some of the status perks, which can still equal upgrades or free Economy Plus seats. All right. So don't forget about that. And then last but not least, if you get Marriott Platinum or SPG Platinum status, you will get United Silver status. So if you think about those two things I just talked about, Marriott Platinum equals SPG Platinum, which equals Delta crossover rewards, which equals United Silver status, which equals the ability to begin some of these challenges because you now have a legacy carrier status, or maybe even Alaska MVP status or Hawaiian status, JetBlue challenge, on and on and on, okay? Overarching theme, 2 things tonight. 1, elite status is not for everybody. Consider the expense required if you're going to go after it, okay? It invokes irrational behavior. I'm telling you this because it does it to me all the time. If it does it to me, it's going to do it to you. So consider what it's going to cost to get the status and if it's really worth it. The second is, if you want to shortcut your way to status, focus on earning that initial status, either with credit card spend or SPG or Marriott Platinum status, and then parlaying that through a series of challenges and match requests, even to programs outside the United States, which I have listed on my Point Sky article, including LATAM, including Turkish, including Egypt Air, including Finnair, and get that One World, that Star Alliance, that SkyTeam Elite status, which at least going to give you lounge access here in the States, and some priority boarding and things like that. Okay, so David says 50,000 spend is nothing for most people, or he says I act like it's nothing. Hey, it is something, and I'm aware of that. That's why I'm giving you other opportunities to meet that first status, like getting SPG or Marriott Platinum, which you can do with a shortcut, which is just a challenge. So 9 Marriott stays over the course of 30 days or 3 months, something extremely attainable for anybody to do a mattress run, gives you that Marriott status, which gives you United Silver, which gives you SPG crossover rewards on Delta, which you parlay into your first status, right? So mattress run with hotel stays to get your airline status to sign up for challenges and other matches, right? That's how we do award travel, okay? Let me go through a few questions here. Steve says, and I read these real time, okay? I'm not screening these first, so sometimes I read things that I don't want to read. Steve says, I obtained JetBlue Mosaic through credit card spend. Several airlines would not honor it due to not being able to prove it was obtained through the flights. So I think that he means that several airlines would not give him a challenge because he couldn't prove that he met it through actually flying. Yeah. When it comes to the world of airline elite status challenges and matches, it's confusing. Nothing is standardized. It depends on the rep that reads your request that day. That's the best that I can tell you. And read through cautions again in my article on the Point Sky. Yep. Ramon says LATAM will straight match your American status if you have at least one segment with them. That's true, and you do get the American Admirals Club lounge access here in the States. It's pretty great. And with that, hey, tune into the group. Over the next 3 days, I'm flying to New York City in order to fly to Mexico, in order to fly to New York City, in order to fly to Atlanta to lock up my Delta Platinum status for the rest of the year. Makes sense to me because it was a shortcut, and this is my full-time gig. That may not make sense for you. April 29th, AT101 Boot Camp. Tony, please share that link for me one more time. I want you to be there. I want you to get a jump start on your award travel goals, on the knowledge. I want you to meet me. I want you to meet Tony. I want you to ask Tony questions who has different perspectives than I have. I want to talk about all these great things and let you walk out that hotel confident that you're going to meet your next award travel goal. Turab says, can you explain a little bit about Founders Card and what are the uses of having it? Yep. Just Google the Point Sky Founders Card. I think I've written 3 articles on it, everything that you need to know, tons of information out there. Nina says, how you plan on getting United? So I'm going to lock up Delta Platinum status this week for the rest of the year. Right when it's about to expire next year, I will request a United challenge up to Platinum Premier and complete that challenge next year out of Atlanta. And then I'm good to go through 2019. All right, subscribe to the YouTube channel where you can watch these videos for replay anytime. That is just youtube.com/C for channel/award travel 101 or simple Google will bring you there. The group's on fire. You guys and gals are asking so many good questions. Remember to review the pinned post or the pinned announcement as it's now called on Facebook. For all of our posting guidelines, we've got master threads. If you've asked a question, it's probably got some information on it in the group. Use the group search function. If you're ever hesitant, reach out to one of the moderators or myself and we'll point you in the right direction. Everybody thank Tony for working as hard as always, and we will catch you very soon. A big week upcoming here in Award Travel 101. See you in Mexico.